Yellow car mini slut. Morning everyone, welcome back to Nat's Knackers Yard. I'll be Nat. This won't be my Knackers Yard. This will be a different commute, I suppose. Really, it's not my. I'm not heading into London today. Different site, but a close one. A lot closer. Come on, leave me hanging over a bloody busy junction. Thank you. What the fuck are you doing? Being a prick in a Tesla, that's what you're doing. Yeah, I hope you're well. Thanks for watching. Thanks for the feedback on Otto. It's all positive so far, which is kind of a fair one because I do like it. I think it's. I mean it. It's a half decent paint job, particularly for rattle cans, particularly for January, but excuse me, but I like the style of the bike. It's looking good. I've had a couple of people saying, oh, what about those knobbly tyres now? They're going, I quite like the knobbly tyres. I like it, a look. Plus I also think if I step down from knobbly tyres, it's going to take some cocking around the front of the mudguard, because that mudguard has been designed, built probably better. Excuse me. It's been built with the extra legs to get it round the bubbles. I think that's why those little extension pieces are in there. So it's going to cause me more cocking around. I haven't abandoned the idea of shifting or changing the battery box, but I kind of have. So I know I could either find wherever the hell it is or buy another lithium battery, which aren't cheap, so I don't really want to go down that route of having to buy one. But I'm still faced with the problem of stashing it. One of you guys did mention about you can get slimline ones. Yeah, okay. I had a quick look, and you can, but they're chuffing expensive for what they are. And I don't think that's sort of like, you know, £130 worth of improvement as to on that bike. So I think we're gonna stick as is. I do have the number plates, or the plates for numbers, I suppose is probably a better way of putting it, rather than number plates, because that means something different. But the side plates, that's a better way of putting it. Side plates measured up. I have started to chuck some paint on some bits and pieces, but we're not there yet. I've forgotten how much I hate this junction. Do feel awfully exposed out there, so I will nip through. Thank you. Crikey, this road never used to be this backed up when I used to come here every day. It's kind of shocking. Yeah, so what? I do need to check out the carb. So having done all this bodywork stuff, as usual in that fashion, I'll end up cocking it up, take it on and off. Hey, I kind of, it's part of my process, man. No, I kind of have to. I want to know what it's going to look like before I start arsing around with its guts too much. And it's how I, oh God, this sounds really wet. It's how I build a relationship with a bike. Now that sounds ridiculous and kind of anti, well, a bit zen, which is anti what I generally feel about bikes. Yeah, it's a difficult one to explain. Kind of is, I do feel like I need to get to know the bike a little bit and take it apart, sorting bits out is probably a good way of doing it before I start digging into the guts. Now, I don't think, well, wrong, I'll rephrase. The guy I bought it from used it as a daily rider. for a while, till his missus, if I remember correctly, till his missus got a little bit smashed up on a bike, and it put them both off for a while, and then he never really got back on. But he was using it to hike around the corner. It wasn't exactly, you know, long range stuff, which is, yeah, fine. That's horses for courses. You ride your bike for what purposes and what style you want to, but it does mean that it runs, it rides. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's ever been set up perfectly. Now, he bought it from the guy that built it, and the guy that built it said that it had complete rebuild, this, that and the other. So you'd like to think, if you put enough effort in to get an engine out of a bike, you'd like to think that you would pretty definitely sort the carbs out when you put it all back together. So there's a large part of me that says it's probably about as good in terms of jetting as it's ever going to be. It's not to say it's perfect, but bikes never quite run perfect on pod filters in my limited experience. I do think there's a touch of air fuel screw playing that needs to be done. I have a feeling, and it's just gut, I don't really have any evidence behind it, but I have a feeling that the carbs aren't balanced particularly well, because I think there's more load on the left than the right. Now, bearing in mind I've not done stuff like compression tests and bits and pieces like that yet either. I have no evidence behind that. I just have a gut feel that the left-hand bank is working harder. That's kind of because as you rev it, the bike dips slightly to the right. You know, when you put load on it. Oh dear. Snorkels. Oh, I don't want wet feet. I've got to wear these friggin' boots all day. I'll go nice and slow. Good boy. I will have to just give my brakes a bit of a tap following that, because they will be all wet, or my discs will. There we go. What was I saying? I can't remember. Yeah, so it does feel like the carbs need balancing. But I'll take them off, have a look. Check out the jetting, which I think should be fine. Oh, crikey, sorry. That's really hideous, coughing down a microphone. Yeah, I think the jetting should be okay. If not there, then near. I can't remember what the jetting should be. But anyway, plenty of time for that, and I got the book because it came with a book. So yeah, we're nearly there. Throughout the week I'll be hacking away at Pork, the Super Dream Chops tank, and by hacking away I mean I just mean getting the paint off as much as I can. If I can, I'll get some paint on, but I don't think I'm going to have either the time or the opportunity to do that somehow, but we'll see how it goes. I might, I don't know, it's a real pain in the arse to film spraying, for one, is awkward, but rubbing stuff down is awkward too, because it's just boring. It's not the most interesting thing in the world to do, and it is one of the simplest things to do. Look at that flooding. It is one of the simplest things to do. You know, there's no fandango surprises or techniques. The greatest technique that you could have. Oh, hang on. Not done that for a little while. The greatest things you can do when you're doing that is, for one, keep it as wet as physically possible. And the number of people I've seen with like spray bottles and no, wet as you possibly can, big motions rather than little jiggers. So yeah, that's the key one. And the other one is patience. Keep it at high grit. Don't feel tempted to go, I could go through this quicker if I drop it down to 800 or 400. 400 definitely not. 800 you might get away with, but you'll probably find that you're chasing scratches afterwards. I have done it before, not on this one, not on this build. I have done it before. You know, it doesn't destroy it, but it does go through very quick. And the last thing you want to do is burn through your paint into your primer, or even worse, into the metal beneath. That would just be nasty. And if you're using rattle cans rather than a paint gun, rather than using rattle cans rather than doing it properly, you're considerably more likely to burn through it because the paint is thinner. That's precisely why I really pretty much go to town on it when I'm with a rattle can. And by going to town, I don't mean standing there and spraying heavy. I mean lots and lots of layers, as many as you can get. You know, if you're not using your whole can on, and certainly a tank that size, you've not put enough on, and it needs over a can. You know, basically a can and a half. Now, when I was doing the tank, I deliberately over lacquered, if you like, or clear coat at the top, and I kept an eye on when I was rubbing, and when I was rubbing it back to get it nice and flat. My effluent, i.e. the stuff that's coming off when I'm rubbing it away, was clear, it wasn't blue. So I know that I was just rubbing into that lacquer layer, not into the paint beneath, which is a good thing. Right, that'll do me. I will catch you on the next one, which will probably be either pork chop, tank or carb for Otto. Cheers. Splashy. Wadey. Ew! Top of my boots. Nasty. Cold. Wet. Right down the top of my boots. Just try and clean off my brakes a little bit, I think. God, and these are high boots as well. So we're getting the splash just wrong. Right down the top. Oh, come on. Now the problem with this road is these speed bumps are just at the passing places. Now obviously, you know, thou shalt not cross, thou shalt not overtake, but even in those tiny little bits where, you know, it's reasonably practical too / illegal. Yeah, and I have made the mistake in the past thinking, oh, I'll chuck a few revs at this bit, get around him. Oh, testicles meet base of spine. Not fun. Oh, what a crappy day. But on the bright side, It's a crappy day considerably considerably closer to home than I normally am, so it's a quicker trip home. Not that I don't like journeys on the bike, but when it's wet and miserable, I like them to be short. Although frankly, I'm now going home, so I don't actually mind being wet and miserable, because I'll jump in the shower, slip my dressing gown on. Come on, I want to get home. There always seems to be lots of people with considerably worse home lives than me that aren't anywhere near as rushed to get home as I am. You fools! Get back to the bosom of your family. I do enjoy Ivan. We're good for each other. He's a Commute bike with a little bit more about him, which is probably about exactly what I need. He has got a little bit dodgy of late on starting warm. Now, I've done a bit of tensionetting, and it's pretty inconclusive, to be brutally honest. However, what I have noticed is the times it doesn't start, to when I turn the key and I hear the throttle doing its dance, but I don't hear the fuel pump. And then if I turn the key another couple of times and jiggle around a little bit, I hear the fuel pump prime, and then it kicks straight in. So I don't think it's fuel pump related, but I think I've just got a dodgy connection as much as anything else. Now, I don't know enough about how this bike works to know how hard that fuel pump works, and whether or not it's really just for priming the bike to get it going rather than when it's going. I don't know. I've always assumed it would be continuous, but it does seem a little bit dodge. So I will have to have a look. I have had to freewheel it home from the shop at the top of my road before. That was quite good fun, actually. I did try and jump start it a couple of times, it just wasn't starting. Now, I've assumed that it's been battery related before, but I'm pretty convinced now that it's something with the starter. Now I'm going to stop off at the shop on the way home. Maybe it will try it again, and I'll see if I can catch it on camera. Right, speaking of which, I'm going to turn the camera off to save what's left of the battery, and see if it will get me for that final stretch. Right, let's see if he's going to be a bit of a dick. So, here all of the... No, I don't think that's... I think that's going to be fine. Here. Bugger, never mind. Right. I like a dick now. Cheers all, catch you later. Ta-da. Right, okay, so I wouldn't normally turn off my bike there. I normally just leave it running and use the headlight to get it in, but see if I can see if I can break it. No, that sounded... Fuck's sake. Glad I'm not a fat bloke. Alright, night night bikes.